I'm fighting for my life here, really. Haven't decided yet. Don't need to.
Lori Vallow Daybell is speaking out exclusively to Arizona's family, days ahead of her murder conspiracy trial and the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. She is already serving life behind bars for the deaths of her two children and is now awaiting another trial where she will represent herself. That trial is set to begin on Monday.
Tonight, we're sitting down with a criminal defense attorney to break down the interview and what to expect in the upcoming trial. So Zach Prelutsky joins us live in studio with more on this. What is this attorney saying? This is such an interesting interview.
Yeah, a really unique situation, hearing from the defendant who also is representing herself just days ahead of her own first-degree murder trial. And Lori Vallow Daybell's exclusive interview with True Crime Arizona was her final one before her conspiracy to commit murder trial begins in just a couple of days. And tonight, we're sitting down with a criminal defense attorney not associated with the case to see if the so-called Doomsday Mom harmed herself by speaking out.
I've been so curious to talk to you for a long time.
Convicted killer Lori Vallow Daybell sitting down exclusively with True Crime Arizona days ahead of her trial here in Maricopa County. I sat down with criminal defense attorney Russ Richelsoph to go over Vallow's interview.
I've been working on my case for 5 years, so I know my case better than an attorney can learn it in 2 years. But here's the thing.
Do you agree with that?
Waive your speedy trial.
Does she know her case better than attorneys could know her case?
Yeah. In the timeline that she was given.
I would say yes, that's true. She probably hasn't reviewed all of the discovery. I mean, she lived it, so she has that experience, but she may or may not know and be familiar with all of the evidence against her.
While Vallow Daybell does have a legal team, including an advisory council, she says her desire for a speedy trial contributed to her decision to represent herself. Richelsoph says there will be challenges for her.
I think her biggest challenge is going to be asking good questions and then being responsive to the witnesses.
In the wide-ranging interview, Briana Whitney questioned Vallow Daybell on her case and previous conviction.
Can you define family tragedy for me?
Yeah.
Obviously, you were convicted of killing your kids. Where does that
Wrongly
disconnect?
convicted.
You believe wrongly convicted?
Absolutely, 100%.
But it's what Vallow Daybell didn't say that Richelsoph says could offer some insight on how the trial will unfold.
She's able to limit herself, like when, her legal team says, hey, you shouldn't answer this question, she stops and she doesn't answer the question. So she is taking their advice. It appears that she's cooperating with them. It appears that she has a, collegial relationship with her advisory council. So that's good for her because, if she's going to stand any chance in this trial, it's because, she's going to take their advice.
Do you plan to take the stand yourself in your own trial?
Haven't decided yet. Don't need to decide that. Legally, you don't have to decide, so we're going to see how it goes.
If you were on her advisory council, would you advise her to testify? Given the fact that she's also acting as her own attorney?
So I don't know. So her attorneys, her advisory council has an advantage that I don't, which is that they've had privileged conversations with her.
Richelsoph says there's a high likelihood prosecutors watched this interview too and could use parts of what Vallow Daybell said here against her. But it's the opening statements that begin on Monday that Richelsoph will be watching closely.
It'll be interesting to hear what she has to say. Is she going to present a specific defense in her opening statement, or is she going to limit her opening statement to reasonable doubt?
And a jury for this trial was seated this past week. There will be 13 men and 3 women, with 4 of them serving as alternates.
That's an interesting lineup that they have there. Can you talk to us more about the jury selection? 13 men and 3 women does not seem like equal numbers, and I'm curious if the men will be more sympathetic to a woman here.
Yeah, and I think it's also a question that I asked Richelsoph, how will it play with Lori Vallow Daybell being her own attorney? Will that gain her any sympathy points, kind of humanize her? Because, some lawyers can maybe be looked at as, corporate, slimy, just
Sure.
some of those kind of perceptions that the public have. So, you know, I think it depends on who the jury is. Obviously, we don't know these people. We're not able to show them or question them ourselves. But I think in the jury selection process, with her kind of selecting her own jury, that was another just interesting aspect. I know she told Briana that it went a lot quicker than she thought it was going to go. She thought it went a lot better than initially she thought it was going to go. So obviously that's a big step. Opening statements, I think, a really key could be moment in this trial moving forward.
Yeah, and you just talk about setting the tone, right? So what is she going to say that first day, and how is that going to look, and how does that set the tone? Is it one where, you know, she's able to continue and do what she's doing, or is it going to maybe set her back and be at a disadvantage?
Yeah, and there's a question on Monday, opening statements. The prosecutors will give it. Lori Vallow Daybell could give her opening statement on Monday, or she could defer it until the prosecutor and the state rest their case. So some strategy going on and with lawyers with that. So I know Richelsoph says it'll be interesting to see when she gives her opening statement, and obviously what that opening statement includes as well.
Zach, thank you.